My 23 female husband, 25 male, asked for a divorce, then changed his mind hours later. Background: we've been together for 2 years and married for 1. We're both in our early 20s. The night of the bullshit, we had an argument about the distribution of chores that I think triggered it. I thought it wasn't fair that I was doing a majority of the housework on top of being a full-time student at university and having a job. He seemed to think that the chore distribution was fair and that I was overreacting. He came to a solution after all the bullshit that I'm about to tell you occurred, but essentially I was feeling overwhelmed and unheard, and he was feeling stressed and confused as to why I thought this was a problem. Later that night, we were discussing the situation again, and I expressed how it feels like that he isn't listening to me and how distant he has become lately. Then he says there's a reason for the distance, and I ask him to tell me why. He says that he thinks we moved too fast. He doesn't know who he is, and he wants a divorce. He says he cares about me, but he doesn't love me, and that he's been feeling this way for a while.
And then hours later, I was kidding.
Never mind.
It was a joke. I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm joking.
Oh.
Now, I've promised myself since years ago that I would never try to make someone stay with me if they don't want to. Solid.
Fair. Yeah.
So as much as this hurt, I said, okay. I cried. He cried. I did ask if he wanted to try couples therapy before divorce, but he said no. We decided to sort out the details in the morning. I grabbed some blankets to sleep on the couch. He went upstairs to bed. To
Wait,
me
you didn't get the
already,
bed?
yeah. How the fuck are you not getting the bed? First of all,
Yeah, what the
insane.
fuck?
In the midst of my sitting on the couch and crying and looking up apartments, what felt like hours later, I hear him get up and come to the living room. He sits down next to me and just says, "I fucked up so bad." I freeze when I hear this because I've barely processed the reality of what just happened, and I can already see where he's going next. I ask him to elaborate, and he says he doesn't want a divorce, that he doesn't know why he said that, and he's feeling the most regret that he's ever experienced in his life. He says that he realizes he fucked up, and I don't have to take him back. At this point, I've experienced so much emotional whiplash that I've completely numbed out. I've already
That was the first word that came to me. I was like, whiplash right here.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You just had a conversation. It was very final. And then he just like, I fucked up. Like, all right, why didn't you feel that 2 hours ago?
I've been feeling this way for a while, and then immediately it's like, wait,
I don't love you anymore.
I've already cried all the tears I could. Now I was just sitting there next to my sobbing husband and saying that, yes, I would take him back, even though I had barely processed the fact that he had wanted to divorce me. I told him I wanted couples counseling and for him to get individual therapy, and he agreed.
Good.
I've asked him about individual therapy. Jesus, I tried to combine both words there.
Trying to think of new merch ideas. I like it.
I'm into it. I'm always trying. I've asked him about individual therapy in the past, but he never wanted to go until now. It is now days later. I've gone through all the stages of being mad at him, being depressed at my marriage almost ending, being insecure about myself, accepting the reality of this, feeling love for him, and feeling numb. Cycling through all of these emotions over and over again at random. We're searching for a couples counselor, but a lot of them have wait lists right now. So in the meantime, I just want to know if anybody has ever been in a similar situation. Does it get any better? Does the trust come back? I feel like I can't trust him at all now. When he touches me, I freak out sometimes because that's not the comfortable feeling that I'm used to whenever he touches me. It's feeling like he is suffocating me instead. I want to be here for him and help him through whatever mental shit that he is going through, but this has been affecting my work and my school. I left my dream school for him. I can't just keep prioritizing him above everything else when he clearly doesn't do the same for me. And yet, until now, he was doing the same for me. He's always been so sweet, buying me flowers, making dinner, going out of his way to make time for us. And before you scream abuse, please know that I've been in abusive relationships before, and they have felt nothing like this. He's not like those guys. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. I just don't know how we can recover. Any advice about how to get through this would be appreciated. And before we go off, there is an update, but I'll let you guys give off your opinions first.
This seems rough. It seems like one of those situations where they probably did like get married way too early, and they just weren't like in the place or the, place in their relationship where they were ready to take on to the next level. But it seems like the issue really stemmed from the division of labor initially. But as I kept hearing the story, it seemed like it started unraveling for me that he had like individual issues that he needed to sort out first. And I don't know why he didn't want to communicate, and I don't know why he didn't want to take initial therapy at first or getting better on that. So that's kind of bad on him for that initial part. I don't know what triggered him to have that remorse and be like, okay, I don't want to mess this up. Like, I wonder if that's anything that's going to be added to the edit, but I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily like evil, like for like a lot of the stories we read. It seems like he has a lot of brewing personal issues that he just doesn't know how to handle himself at the moment. So I'm kind of curious to see where this goes in terms of edits.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I don't love that this conversation spurred out of you being honest about problems with your relationship, like the chores split and being like, hey, this bothers me. And his reaction was to be like,
just divorce.
Like
Yeah.
maybe
Pretty
he was
quick,
dwelling on
yeah.
it for a while. Yeah, maybe he was dwelling on it for a while. But it seems with the switch up, that seemed like for me, it seemed like a reaction to that. And then him being like, oh shit, I didn't actually mean that. And then going back. So to me, he's shitty in that way. And
The I don't love you anymore part is shitty as hell.
Yeah, dude.
That's bad.
And I've gotten back together with exes before that I shouldn't have. And the trust to build back to that is monumental. And and mine were nowhere near this bad. like to have someone say, I don't love you anymore, I want a divorce, I don't even want to try to fix this. Like, I couldn't even imagine the effort and time that you need to put into to mend this. And like you can do it. You can absolutely do it. He has to put in the effort. You have to put in the effort, and it can happen. It's just, it's going to take a lot of time and effort. It won't be a overnight thing. And I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you were just like, well, I can't get what you said out of my head. And so like, this is over.
That's facts. And he's going to have to learn how to live with that, because him cementing that statement off the bat, that is a lot to take in for a lot of people. And I don't know, it just always disappoints me that like people and this could be between men, women, doesn't matter. People like just let their emotions brew and just have it sit. And instead of just communicating like, hey, you say that, the load right now isn't even, but I feel overwhelmed. If you just communicate with your partner in some sense, I feel like a lot of issues could be like at least, remedied. But I'm not a fan of people like holding on to their shit until, it spills over kind of thing.
100%.
All right, let's get into this update, y'all.
Please be a good one.
Oh,
I know.
Again.
This is gonna be a sad story, Josh. So we might have given him a little bit of benefit of doubt. So I'm ready to change my mind for sure.
Oh, I didn't give him much of a benefit of the doubt,
but yeah, you were hoping for
I did at least
a good result.
Yeah,
and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but let's get into it.
Oh God!
1 year ago, it's got to be the probably biggest update or like longest distance between the updates.
This bitch cheated.
1 year ago, I, 24-year-old female, made this post asking for advice on how to continue my relationship after my now ex-husband, 26-year-old male, betrayed my trust by telling me he wanted a divorce out of the blue and then changing his mind just a couple hours later. As stated above, he is now my ex. Those of you who said he would repeat the same behavior again You were right.
Well, damn, there it is.
Yeah.
On New Year's Day 2024, he said he wanted a divorce. He packed
On
a
New
bag.
Year's Day?
Yeah.
He said, I got
He's
a
like,
resolution.
I got a New Year's resolution. Damn it, Josh beat me to it.
He packed up a bag and left to a motel and then came back hours later. I'll admit, I was a wreck that day. I asked him if this was going to be just like last time, and he said no. I asked him if he felt mentally okay, and he said he felt fine. Now, I got on my knees and begged this man to stay. Not my proudest moment. And he looked at me with empty, vacant eyes and left.
Jesus.
I was in tears for a couple of hours, but then I opened up this app to try and distract myself and saw that he made a, now deleted, please don't go looking for his account, post on the divorce subreddit about how he left me and felt bad, but did not regret it. Then,
Damn.
I want to read that post so badly.
Yeah, do you have it?
No, it says now deleted, so it's
Damn it.
gone into the ether. Unless
no.
some detective Wikimaniacs find it. Let us
If
know.
anyone has that, please send that
Next,
in.
next Wednesday update.
Yeah, please.
Holy.
Then I went from depressed to furious. I called my landlord and told him that I was getting a divorce and I needed his help in changing the locks. My landlord was very understanding and helped me do so. Now, a few hours later, SpongeBob sound, I heard a knock on the door, and when I opened it, my ex-husband was standing there.
Hell no. Kick that motherfucker out.
Jesus. Get off my property.
I didn't even get a chance to tell him to leave because he immediately collapsed into my arms, sobbing.
Hell no.
Dude, fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off, dude.
The first coherent words to come out of his mouth were, quote, "You're not going to take me back, are you?" End quote.
Correct.
Oh, bitch.
Reddit. I would love to say that I rejected him right then and there, but I did not. Even after all of this, I was still hooked into his web of manipulation. So instead, I sat down with him and had a long discussion about how much he hurt me, how in the middle of working to rebuild the trust that had been broken between us, he completely destroyed any progress that had been made and found a way to make that distrust even worse. I don't remember the details of what he said, but he always knew what to say to get me to feel sorry for him. The night ended with me saying that I would take him back. He was smiling, saying he'd never felt so hopeful. He wrote me a love poem that night for the first time in years. Meanwhile, I had never felt so broken. And I told him that after he said he felt so hopeful. He then shrugged it off and said, I'd feel better in the morning.
I don't know if this guy has ever cared about you ever.
Yeah, from what it sounds like, he does.
Yeah, this is some emotionless, like manipulative behavior. Holy shit. Sounds like a game to him.
Yeah, insane. I did not, in fact, feel better in the morning. During the next few days, while I was trying to pick myself back up, study for finals, and continue going to work as if nothing was wrong, he went back and forth every day on whether or not he loved me, whether or not he wanted to be married to me. He said he thought he loved the idea of being a husband more than he loved me.
Well, then go find another wife, fucker.
Go
find someone else.
This guy belongs in the streets. Like,
yeah,
he deserves to be.
He don't want to be saved. He don't want to be saved.
No,
he don't want to be saved.
My last straw was when I reached out to one of his childhood friends who I had interacted with a few times and thought that I could trust to be honest with me. And I asked him if he had ever noticed any red flags in my ex-husband's behavior in his past relationships or behavior towards women in general. His friend assured me that he had never noticed anything of the sort. I thanked him and asked if he could please not tell my ex-husband I asked, since I was afraid of what he might do.
He snitched.
Yeah. When my ex-husband came home from work that day, I could immediately tell that he knew. He opened the door so forcefully. He sat down on the couch next to me and told me he knew, and said in a low, almost growling tone of voice,
You don't get to be angry, you
Yeah.
fucking piece of shit.
This guy's
You don't
fucking
get to be
terrible.
angry about this. You are putting her through this mental distress. Fuck you. Holy shit.
this guy's one of the,
You know how
it's
you
terrible.
know, you know how OP in the first post she was saying that he's not an abuser of some sort. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely is.
This is emotional abuse. It's
yeah.
just as bad. Holy fuck.
And I probably should have put a trigger warning because it gets worse.
We can do it at the end and then you can just put it.
Yeah,
we can-
okay. But he then said in a low and almost growling tone of voice, but I know you didn't mean any harm by it. I was frozen in fear and couldn't say anything. But then he grabbed my face, turned my head to look at him, and his eyes looked so cold. He said again, you didn't mean any harm by it, right? I nodded.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
And forced myself.
Oh no. This is this.
Yeah.
Oh no. This is my true. This is true crime shit. Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Don't want it. Nope. Don't want it.
I nodded and forced myself to answer yes. And I knew in that moment this man would kill me if I didn't find a way out of this relationship. If I didn't, in fact, kill myself first with how bad my mental health was getting after dealing with him insulting and belittling me day after day. I was genuinely starting to spiral into a dark place I hadn't been to in years. The next day, while he was at work, I packed a bag and wrote a note telling him I'm leaving and that I want his stuff out of the house by the time I get back. I left the note on the counter with my ring and spent the night at my mom's. It is an uncontested divorce, filing by mail, and should be finalized in April. I started the paperwork at my mom's house that first night of the separation. Since ending my relationship, I have gone to therapy and realized just how abusive and manipulative my ex-husband was. I also understand how broken he is, but being mentally unwell is not an excuse for abusive behavior.
Facts.
What he did to me was abuse, and I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I have reconnected with old friends and made some new ones. I've started doing things that I love again, things he never wanted me to do, like wearing red lipstick or eating mint-flavored things and going to concerts.
What the fuck? Is
Yeah, the mint-flavored things, I'm like, what is that about?
I mean, all of them are terrible. That was weird to me.
I would definitely say. Wait, did he not like quote unquote allow her to do those things?
I'm assuming by the way it's written, yes.
Yeah.
I've realized I never wanted to be married again. I've discovered my polyamorous identity and have been able to begin exploring that side of myself. I have plans to move out of my hated hometown that he dragged me back to, and I feel so much joy, freedom, and self-love than I ever have when I was in a relationship with my ex-husband. I won't be using this account anymore after this as I have no need to, but I want to thank the community and other Reddit subs that I have participated in. If I never made my original post, I don't think I would have realized just how awfully my husband or my ex-husband was treating me. Thanks to the support of hundreds of voices telling me I deserved better, I realized how true that statement was. I do deserve better, and now I have better. I also want this update to be a beacon of hope to anyone who has found themselves in a similarly emotionally/verbally abusive situation. Life is so much better when you leave. There is hope. There is light on the other side of pain. Thank you again, Reddit. I am finally free.
This is
Okay,
what
so
I
we-
get for seeing the light of humanity.
So we
I will
do
never go back to
somewhat
that.
get a happy ending.
There's a happy ending, you know. They've.
Well, I'm
they've
talking
just-
about like I try to give him a benefit.
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
doubt,
Oh
and that-
yeah. And
that
people
reason.
wonder why we have a slant towards men sometimes on this podcast.
It's
For
just
reasons, I mean,
statistically.
Yeah, it's our own trauma built in from hearing all the stories.
True.
Yeah, I mean, let's focus on the positive. They're out of it. They're safe. Sounds like they're in a better place. They're moving on to better
rediscovering
things,
themselves.
and because I mean, from when you're John, you kind of touched on this, marrying that young, you change so much between 20 and 25. It's crazy. So, yeah, she's still got a few more years to, keep discovering who she is, and then hopefully find someone or someones who she can be happy with. So,
Yeah.
we'll
completely
focus on the
agree.
good.
And that's not saying like just because you marry young that your shit's not gonna work out.
Absolutely
Juliet and I
not.
got married. We got married when we were 23, and we were dumbasses in the beginning, and we were just like, "What the fuck?" Like, when there was a lot of like growing pains, a lot of things like we needed to discover. But hey, we matured, and decade in, and I feel like we have like the for us at least is the best relationship that we can have. It's just rough, and I think Josh touched on this earlier today too, and I completely agree. This guy, yes, we want to focus on a positive, but it was a game for this guy, and it was unfortunate that she was a pawn, and she was like a victim in his like sick game. And at first I was like, damn, why the fuck would you take him back? That's some stupid shit. But you know what? At the same time, I don't blame her. For someone, like, love can make you do a lot of crazy shit. So, and it seemed like, foundationally, they've been together for quite a bit. Like, they were kind of together during like those, like in their 20s. So that's kind of what she's known, like, in terms of what a relationship is. So, to bring it back to the positive, I am really happy that she discovered herself. Marriage might not be a thing for you in the future, and that's okay. And as long as you are not, or you're doing something that's like, positive for you and living your life the best way you can, that's all you can get out of. Hopefully this bad chapter of your life is like you've recovered from it, and hopefully, happy things come along with you in the future.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Looking at the positives, of course, extremely happy for the happy ending. The next chapter seems like it's going to be the best chapter yet. But I gotta say that was some fucking. This guy might be top 10. Every getting accepted
and
back.
I said that like this person. I was like, this person is not like the most evil. I take that.
No, we
back.
take it back. Yeah. The more we learn, the more insane this guy. Not only getting taken back the second time, but for every day for a week being like, I don't know if I love you. I love you. I don't know if I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be married. But I love being married. What the what kind of fucking yeah. And then, then the worst part, the breaking point was quite literally if you didn't think what was happening before was abusive, that's haunting. Like John said, some true crime cold case shit.
And I don't watch much like shows, but this gives me like this Netflix show called Dirty John. Like it just gives me Dirty John vibes. Like he's a con artist in a way. Like, like he's pretending to love you. He's pretending to be like this caring person, this emotionally available man, crying into your arms, rushing to your door. But really, it's just to manipulate you and play with your fucking, play with your heart and shit. So I don't know. I'm glad she got out, because there could have been a potential, like, things could have gotten a lot worse, because he sounds really, really possessive.
You wrote a love poem, said he was hopeful. You said, I don't know. And he said, you'll be fine tomorrow.
You'll be
right. You'll be fine tomorrow. Oh my fucking God. This guy is top 10.
Yeah, he'd make it into our March Madness.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Which is topical.
That it's going to be too.
Get therapy.